What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Michael Chandler talks about his game plan against Paddy Pimblett. Michael Chandler has a pivotal test ahead of him in the form of Paddy Pimblett, but it doesn't sound like the former Bellator champ will be trying to reinvent his approach when he enters the cage at UFC 314. Chandler has been booked to fight the rising star at the April 12th card following consecutive losses to Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. While there's no changing the fact that at this point, Chandler has had a remarkable career, if he loses to Pimblett, his days as a top contender could very well be over. Despite his recent setbacks, however, it doesn't sound like Chandler will be breaking out a new strategy for the baddie. Case in point, recently he told UFC.com the following: "There's always the court of public opinion, narratives, and storylines. For me, it's just another guy with 2 arms and 2 legs who's my size. I've been doing this since I was 14 years old, essentially hand-to-hand combat on the wrestling mats and then in mixed martial arts for 15 years, so it's a lot of the same. I'm going to go out there and put the pressure on him, hit him with some big shots, and see if he can hang." Now, it is possible that we could see Chandler change gears in his approach and say, hang back and look to counter-strike, but that seems extremely unlikely. While Chandler has come up short in several of his UFC fights to date, he's largely faced elite top competition, and he's repeatedly talked about how he plans to vet whether Pimblett is in fact one of the best at 155. Paddy also spoke to the UFC crew, and he repeated his contention that Chandler will not be going the distance at UFC 314. "I'm ready to do 5 rounds. I've done 5 rounds in Cage Warriors before. This isn't going 5 rounds. Chandler is getting finished in 2. Pimblett also noted in that interview that he believes a win at UFC 314 could move him 1 victory away from securing a title fight. His fellow Englishman, Michael Bisping, agrees.
But if he gets the job done against Michael Chandler, and he just might do that, if he can do that, I'm telling you, Paddy Pimblett is probably 1 fight away from fighting for a belt, whether you like it or not, whether you talk whether you say, but he had cherry-picked matchups. He was slow-rolled, much like a lot of other fighters. Sugar Sean O'Malley, along the way, didn't always fight the best competition, but the competition has progressively got harder for Paddy Pimblett. That's a fact.
How do you see the fight next weekend playing out? Do you see Pimblett finishing Chandler inside of 2 rounds? And if so, how? Or do you think that Chandler will expose Pimblett? All that aside, as UFC 314 approaches, Chandler continues to field questions about allegations that he cheated in his fights with Poirier and Oliveira. Poirier himself has accused Chandler of using dirty tactics like fish hooking, and in his bout with Dubronx, he repeatedly hit the former champion in the back of the head. While talking to MMA Fighting recently, Chandler had this to say about claims that he's a cheater. "I mean, the narrative is tough, man. People don't really know me. Unless you're in my inner circle, you don't know who I truly am outside of being in front of the camera. People have their sneaky suspicions that I play nice in front of the camera and I'm a bad guy behind the camera. You're always going to have those accusations, right? But I know who I am, and I know who I am at my core. I'm a guy who tries to do things right, tries to treat people right, do things with honor and respect. So the cheating narrative is a little tough for me, but also it's all part of the court of public opinion, man." And the decorated fighter also said this: "Did I grab Dustin Poirier's mouthpiece? Yes, I did, because I thought it was his chin. I've already addressed that one. Things happen in a fight. Are you going to reach over and grab the cage? Are you going to get your fingers in the glove? Yeah, those things are going to happen in a fight. In the last fight, Charles Oliveira dug his chin so deep into my eye socket that I thought I was going to go blind, which is illegal. It's an eye gouge, right? He was grabbing my gloves when he was trying to choke me. These things happen when you're inside the cage. I would never say that Charles Oliveira is a cheater. His body is reacting and doing things without his brain's permission. You're in fight or flight, things happen, so it's a tough narrative." Do you agree with Chandler's defense here? Garry talks about Carlos Prates fight reactions. Earlier today, Garry reacted to the MMA community's reaction to him accepting a fight with Carlos Prates on short notice. Here's what he had to say.
6th main event, Kansas City, Missouri. I'm taking on Carlos Prates. And these things I keep hearing, like people keep repeating them. 1, Ian Machado Gary's a he's taking another fight on short notice. Yes I am. 2, this is a massive risk. Why take this risk? It's not a massive risk. The UFC need a short notice opponent. They called the Irish. We're called the Fighting Irish for a reason. I say yes. I love to fight. There's nothing more I love in this world than fighting. I am ready.
Who do you guys see winning this fight? Let us know down in the comment section below. Conor McGregor's crypto coin flops hard. Conor McGregor took plenty of verbal fire recently after he announced that he was launching a crypto game with real-world gaming that would, quote, change the crypto game. A few days ago, the controversial star reported he was getting into the crypto space, and he proclaimed it'd be successful like his whiskey and beer ventures. According to a report from B in Crypto, at the time of the report's publication, the coin had raised just $218,000. Further, as ACD MMA noted from the report, Conor McGregor's meme coin that launched yesterday has flopped hard. It's raised only $340,000, which is far short of the $3.6 million target and the $1 million minimum. The coin is facing major backlash in the crypto community, with many criticizing the 12-hour unlock window. Since all this broke, Real World Gaming announced the following. We need to be real, we didn't hit our minimum raise. All bids will be refunded in full. This is not the end. Conor himself proceeded to confirm the post. Ladies and gentlemen, this is real. So are you going to put some money in it, or is this a hard pass? All this comes at a point when McGregor has said that he's more interested in politics these days than fighting, and that he's planning to run for the Irish presidency. McGregor is facing a massive uphill battle in that respect as well, as according to a recent poll from the Irish Independent, only 7% of the people from Ireland who were polled would vote for him. Alexander Volkanovski interested in rematching Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria's days fighting at featherweight appeared to be at an end, but Alexander Volkanovski hasn't abandoned the possibility of facing El Matador one more time. Volkanovski is preparing to face Diego Lopez for the vacant featherweight title at UFC 314 next weekend. As Topuria vacated the title to move up to lightweight, Topuria ended Volkanovski's legendary reign as the featherweight king by a brutal knockout in February of last year. Following Topuria's knockout of Max Holloway in October, all signs pointed to him fighting Volk again, but ultimately, the Spain-based fighter opted to drop the belt to pursue the lightweight title. Recently, Volkanovski spoke with a UFC camera crew, and he relayed he's still hoping to throw hands with Topuria one more time. Ilia would have been my first option, rematch, but the fact that I'm fighting for the vacant belt against a young, hungry guy in Lopez, that's the next big thing. I don't think that story's done yet. I plan on going out there, winning the belt, defending, and then maybe we can have a rematch. If he was to win the title at lightweight, then even bigger. Imagine me doing the rematch while I'm the defending champion. That just adds to the story. If Volkanovski reclaims the featherweight title at UFC 314 and Topuria goes on to win the lightweight title in the near future, there's no question that a rematch would be a massive fight. Do you think the UFC would go in that direction, even if Volk wasn't planning on vacating the featherweight title? And who do you see winning the rematch between these two? UFC updates. The UFC has announced the promotion is heading back to Atlanta, Georgia for a fight night card on June 14th. This is the 5th time the UFC has held a card in Atlanta, and it's the first time since 2019. This was the place for UFC 236, a crazy event in which Dustin Poirier won the interim lightweight championship by recording a decision over fellow legend Max Holloway. That card also saw Israel Adesanya hoist the interim middleweight title after defeating Kelvin Gastelum by decision. That fight was one of the best middleweight fights of all time. So it'll be interesting to see what fights get tapped for the June 14th headliner in Atlanta, but matchmakers have a tall order to match the lineup for UFC 236, especially since it's not a pay-per-view. And it's being reported that Arena da Silva will battle Kong Wang at UFC 316 in June in Newark, which is going down on the 7th of June. Da Silva is looking to get back on track as she's dropped consecutive fights to Jasmine Jasadavicius and Karine Silva. Kong is coming off a decision win over Bruna Brazil in February, after getting choked out by Gabriela Fernandez in November. The flyweight has gone 2-1 to date in the octagon. UFC fighter pulls out of fight. We reported Trevor Peek finally getting a fight and shared a video of him being excited about the bout. He was scheduled to fight Jung Young Lee on the Des Moines card. Yesterday on social media, Trevor Peek announced that he pulled out of his fight with a fractured leg. He posted a following video on social media detailing what happened.
I actually fractured my leg at the Performance Institution on Friday. It's not a bad fracture. I still have to go get CT scans in the next day or two and figure out like if I've got any kind of ligament damage or anything like that. I got on some soft mats and was jump roping. I was alternating each leg. I'd been jump roping probably 20 something minutes and got a little tired, a little careless and wasn't paying attention. Come down with all my weight on my left leg and it sounded like a shotgun whenever it went off. It popped. Unfortunately, I was on the UFC's premises whenever I did it, so they knew about it. If there was a way to just take this thing and get by and not let anybody know, I certainly would have tried my best to make May 3rd happen. I mean, I've always rolled with the punches. I mean, they made the executive decision to pull me. I also got to speak with, Mr. Shelby last night at the event, and I told him that, you know, as long as everything checked out with my ligaments, that, you know, the UFC, they're specialists and everything. They did tell me that I could potentially be healthy enough for Nashville in July. I'm sorry accidents happen. Like I said, if it was in my control, I would just tape the mess out of this thing and rock with it, guys. But it's out of my control. They knew about it. They called, canceled it, pulled me. It's sorry to old Chung Yong Lee. Maybe our paths will cross here before the end of the year or something, man. But God bless you guys. I love y'all with all my heart.
Oscar De La Hoya goes off on Dana White for Boxing League. Oscar De La Hoya and Dana White have traded verbal shots for several years now. Pretty nasty ones at that. So it's not surprising to hear that the Golden Boy is trashing the boxing league that White's going to be running alongside TKO Group and Turki Al Sheikh. You know that Dana White has repeatedly blasted how the boxing business operates for years now, and he also said multiple times he was planning to get into that boxing business. Well, in the latest Clapback Thursday segment from De La Hoya, he lit up White and his new boxing league. Not only does De La Hoya believe that boxing elites won't be willing to compete for TKO, he's predicting UFC fighters are gonna riot as well.
Everyone has been asking me for my opinion and thoughts on Dana White attempting to enter the boxing space. You can't run a boxing organization when you don't have any fighters. And right now, TKO and Dana have 0 fighters. This means they're likely in it for the long haul and are trying to build something years from now when fighters' contracts come up with current promoters, and they will try to start attempting to sign them. What else do we know? TKO's supposed fighter pay / salaries were leaked a few weeks ago, and if these are real, holy sh**, Dana's gonna have several problems. Number 1, no fighter is going to fight for these pennies. The majority of their prospects will fight 1 or 2 times a year, and keep in mind, they will be fighting tough fights. Dana said the best must fight the best, so their careers will be short. Number 2, no pay-per-view fighter will fight for $750,000. You're telling me the Canelos and the Ryans of this world are going to agree to this kind of pay cut? No! And most importantly, number 3, if these numbers are real, the UFC fighters will be so pissed. The TKO boxers will be getting paid so much more than they are. UFC fighters are already disgusted with how little they get paid for putting their lives on the line. As for Dana's character, it speaks for itself. I don't even have to say anything about a guy who publicly slapped his own wife and whose own mother wrote a book about what a terrible person her son is.
So what do you make of De La Hoya's comments here? Do you agree with his predictions? It is worth noting that the famous boxer isn't the only person who believes boxing's best won't be willing to fight for the league on account of what its business model is expected to be. Lerone Murphy calls out Brian Ortega. Murphy faced the talented, heavy-handed Emmett in the headliner of UFC Vegas 105 and outscored him over 5 rounds to earn the decision win. The win would move Murphy's overall record to an impressive 16-0-1, and he's now gone 8-0-1 in the octagon. During the post-fight show on ESPN, Murphy was asked who he wants to fight next, and he called for a fight with T-City. Anybody in that top 3, top 4, maybe? Where's Brian Ortega ranked? Where is he? That's a good fight. I think he's number 3, and Diego Lopez went on to get a title shot after beating him. So let's go Brian Ortega. And when asked why he's calling for a fight with Ortega, the 33-year-old said the following.
Yeah, just a fight I've been looking at for a while, and obviously you see Diego Lopez going to get a title shot after beating him, so I want to take a similar route. I thought Danny Ige, same as Lopez too, so yeah man, just give me one of them guys.
Rankings-wise, a fight with Ortega makes a lot of sense, given that he's ranked number 6 in the featherweight rankings, but the longtime contender has repeatedly said he's planning to move up to 155, so Ortega may not be an option. While Murphy recorded a big win on Saturday, not everyone was thrilled with the counter-striking approach that he took. Some fans were apparently hoping to see him stand and trade with Emmett. In response to those folks, Murphy posted this via social media. Clinic. Real MMA fans will appreciate the technicality of that fight. That's fight IQ. Pushing elbows in close, body kicks, neat footwork. Had him hurt a few times. Why would I stay in the pocket with a power puncher? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, baby. Given that Emmett has been known to send an opponent's consciousness to the bowels of the earth and back, just ask Bryce Mitchell, can you fault Murphy for how he fought on Saturday? And who do you want to see him fight next? The MMA community reacts to Paddy Pimblett's insane body transformation. Paddy Pimblett has done it again, dropping off nearly all of the weight he gained after his last fight. He posted a video on social media showing himself hitting mitts and a couple of pictures in Miami, and fans were quick to notice his ripped physique just days before his fight against Michael Chandler at UFC 314. Here's what the MMA community had to say. Look at the shape of the lad. Bro got a superhero physique. Your physique transformation in and out of camp always amazes me, brother. Good luck with this fight. Them abs are impressive. Looking stronger and leaner than ever. Cannot wait to see next-gen Paddy in action. Doesn't matter how much we criticize him for his corny persona, dude's professionalism is impressive. His body transformation needs to be studied. 100% he's on something. Just look at his left shoulder. Delt's looking huge. And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. Paddy Pimblett also went off on Arman Tsarukyan while appearing on the Full Send podcast earlier today. Here's what he said.
He's just a little posh boy who's had everything handed to him on a silver platter by his dad.
Do you think he actually got injured or no? Or what do you think happened?
No, he's a little That's what you are, Arman, little boy. And then he was doing them videos where he flips forward on his neck.
Right.
And then he's saying that he's got a bad back. Dana said, didn't he? It was like Dana shot him down in that interview. I was like, whoa, that's heavy, that. You don't want the boss saying that about you. But because he got asked, didn't he, is Arman still number one? Right. And he was like, no. Right. He's going to have to go back to the drawing board. Yeah. He basically said that like doctors come out and Heather, the best masseuse in the PI, come out and they never said to him, you can't fight. He decided he's not going to fight. So basically, Arman, you your pants, know what I mean? That's what you did. You farted and followed through.